Just a quick heads up before we get into this episode. While 8-bit games have a lot of flickering and flashing, Space Shadow is especially bad, and it's the entire screen that's flashing in and out constantly. It gave me a headache, and I typically don't have a problem with these things. If you are sensitive to flashing, here's the one-sentence summary before you stop the video. It has one of the most unique peripherals on the Famicom, but the game itself is not worth it. Okay, on to the regular show. Huh, that title screen looks awfully familiar for some reason. Where could I have seen something like that before? Space Shadow is the first light gun game on the Famicom in 5 years. Bayou Billy included support for the gun, but most of the game was played without it. The thing is, Space Shadow does not support the Nintendo gun accessory. Instead, it used Bandai's own Hyper Shot, a rather hefty toy gun that I have not been able to get my hands on. The Hyper Shot had vibration, a speaker built into it for making gunshot noises, a continuous sensor so you could hold down the trigger for an auto-fire, an alternate trigger, and a movement button. That is a lot of features built into one gun. It also required 4 C-cell batteries, which apparently it went through in a few hours. The gun goes for over $100, if you can find one. At the time that I'm recording this, there's only an unopened box on Yahoo Auctions Japan, and they want around $700 for that. So even though I'm keeping an eye out for a copy, it just hasn't happened. However, a bit of experimentation found a potential solution for me. The Hypershot light gun works on the same principle as the Nintendo Zapper, and the additional control features of the Hypershot could be triggered by a regular controller. So I spent some time today mating a NES Zapper to an ASCII stick L5. The L5 is a one-handed controller designed for strategy games and RPGs, and if I have my dates right, it actually came out the same day as the Hypershot. It was intended for use with an ASCII game that also came out on February 20th, which we'll see tomorrow. So I wired everything up together, and it was kind of, but not really functional. I've got a few theories about what went wrong, and I might have been able to work something out if I was able to spend a few days on this project, but the show must go on. So I wound up manually switching out the Zapper with the L5 in order to make my way through the game. Unfortunately, the game was not even worth that effort. It's a shooting gallery in which one alien pops out at a time, and you have to spray it with a continuous stream of bullets. The alien will take a shot, and you can shoot down that before it hits you. With the alien defeated, you advance to the next room, and repeat. Launching a grenade will immediately defeat whatever alien is there, but you only have a limited number of those. Sometimes after an alien is defeated, you'll get bullets, grenades, or health. You have to shoot those to pick them up. The bullets aren't your actual bullet count. Instead, they're a clip of about 10 bullets. Go on long enough and you'll confront a boss who has a much smaller hitbox. Now, one thing you're going to notice here is that if I hold down the trigger, the screen just flashes continuously. That's something that works with the Hyper Shot, but it doesn't work with the Zapper. I had to manually pull the trigger over and over again until the alien was destroyed. This is the only game that supports the Hyper Shot, and I'm kind of curious why it never came to the US. I would have thought that the US was the intended market for it. Perhaps Bandai just decided it was too expensive. Now, it's a little bit unfair for me to give a judgment on this one, although I did play through it further on an emulator, and it did not get any better. The later levels use the exact same corridors and the exact same enemy patterns, they just changed the sprites. I am bothered at how you can see this ladder at the end of the corridor before the boss, and then it vanishes when you defeat the alien. That's bad visual design right there. And the way that the screen constantly flashes when the trigger is held down is guaranteed to cause problems. Space Shadow was a huge disappointment for me. I like shooting galleries, but this is a very bad one.